You obviously have a significant insight into the Russian president from these interactions over almost 6 years. One of these narratives that you see commonly in the media and Western media, Vladimir Putin as the madman. What do you think of this narrative?
Absolutely baseless. No. He's one of the most rational people that I ever met in my life. And still I see, even today, when I'm not there, but I see how he's rational, extremely rational, calculated, understanding what is going on around the world, and he's taking decisions based on his analysis of what's going on in the world and based on what kind of views and positions are taken by other people, including leaders of the Western countries, including the President of the United States. And his decisions, including decision to invade Ukraine, is based on his absolutely correct understanding of President Biden. Without Biden in the White House, Putin would never invade Ukraine.
Okay, explain that to me.
Mr. Putin is a very good psychologist. And even from the KGB files for Mr. Biden, because Mr. Biden visited Moscow in 1978 and met with the leaders of the Soviet Union. Even recently in Poland, Mr. Biden reminded to the shocked audience how it was nice for him to meet Mr. Kosygin, Prime Minister of the Soviet Union. He shared with his Polish friends or Polish audience when he was in Warsaw. But what was probably a shock for Polish audience was not a shock for Mr. Putin, because he studied files for Mr. Biden. He understood that a person who would never do anything against his invasion against Ukraine. And for all these months before that, Biden did remove sanctions from construction of Nord Stream 2. Biden signed START 3. Biden invited Putin to the climate summit last April. Biden did nothing against concentration of Russian troops on the Ukrainian border back in March and April. When there was some provocation in the Black Sea, when the Dutch Navy ship went to the kind of contact with the Russian Navy, Biden ordered U.S. ship to leave the Black Sea, leaving Dutch ship alone. And many, many other things, including what we have seen in preparation of this invasion to Ukraine. When Putin started to mass Russian troops on the Ukrainian border last autumn, Biden dispatched Mr. Bill Burns, CIA director, to Moscow. And it's for the first time CIA director spent 2 days in Moscow. And he discussed some issues, so-called bilateral issues, with the head of Security Council of Russia, Mr. Patrushev, and with Foreign Intelligence Chief Naryshkin, and after that talked to Mr. Putin. And after that, Putin doubled his efforts to his preparations against Ukraine. Just after this Burns visit to Moscow, Putin said, okay, our American friends offered to us to prepare documents for providing us with so-called security guarantees. And it was exactly what he did in December last year, when they have given to American side, and after that they published the so-called two draft treaties, one draft treaty with the United States, another draft treaty with NATO. And it was very clear that the very idea of preparation of these two drafts was given to him by Mr. Burns and by Mr. Biden. And after that, when all the world was expecting that, all these outrageous demands from the Putin side would be rejected outright. No. Mr. Sullivan, National Security Assistant to President Biden, said, oh no, there are something interesting here. We will have negotiations. And after that, we know that in January, in Geneva, in Brussels, and in Vienna, there was a series of negotiations with Russian side, at which American side officially pronounced, okay, there are several good ideas from the Russian proposal that we completely accept. For example, not deployment of troops and not deployment of nuclear missiles on the Ukrainian territory. Nobody asked for that, but nevertheless they said it right away. They said many other things, including concerning the military drills, including the military cooperation and so on. So it showed that Biden and Biden administration are ready to cooperate with Putin on issues of security, even when Russian troops are on the Ukrainian border and ready to attack Ukraine. That can be understood only in one way. Biden administration is giving green light for Putin to attack Ukraine. And just before this attack, just last point, the Biden administration recalled American citizens from Ukraine. They recalled American instructors from Ukrainian military. They recalled part of diplomatic personnel from Kyiv. They relocated embassy of the United States from Kyiv to Lviv. And now we know that they removed US Navy from the Black Sea that were there, from Black Sea. That can be interpreted only in one way. And Mr. Putin understood these signs in the exactly right way.
We live in an era of censorship and disinformation, and it can be really hard to know what's true and what's false in this information climate. To get honest information and insights you can trust, join us on Epoch TV. You can sign up for your 14-day free trial at ept.ms/freetrialjan. That's ept.ms/freetrialjan. Okay, so just to be clear here, you're saying that it can only be understood as a green light for Russia to invade, but like from Vladimir Putin's perspective?
No, this is the only way to understand it. There is no other way. Let me give you two examples. Or just another example, just to compare what has happened over the last few months with what happened in year 2008 during the Russian invasion into Georgia. On August 11, year 2008, then President Bush Jr. ordered US Navy to move into the Black Sea and US Air Force to be relocated into Turkey and Romania. And Mr. Bush, President Bush, has announced it in the late evening, August 11th, year 2008. What happened after that? In 12 hours, Russian invasion into Georgia has been stopped. Has been stopped immediately because they understood this signal from the US president. If the United States president now, in year 2022, sends very different, very opposite signals, removing Navy, removing diplomatic personnel, removing embassy, removing instructors, removing American citizens, how all these signals should be understood in Kremlin, only in one way. This is a green light. Moreover, as you remember, Biden has announced that he's putting more troops into so-called border states, into Poland, Romania, other places. How Putin should understand it? Only in one way. He's not going to be involved in Ukraine, and Ukraine is his easy prey.